what you're given in this problem is you're given this chart. And if you look at this chart, look at what you have. You have f of x, g of x, f prime of x, g prime of x, and you have their values at various x points, okay? And what you want to find is the derivative of the expressions given here. So first of all, this problem, example number 7, put a big star next to this problem because it is very, very important, okay? All right. So first, what you have here is you need to find the derivative of f of x times g of x. Well, this is product rule, right? Because you've got two functions that you're multiplying. You're not given the functions themselves, and you don't need them. You just apply the rule. So the product rule here, well, u is the first function. G is the second, v is the second function, g of x. So u prime is f prime of x, v prime, g prime of x. And now the derivative of this is f of x times g prime of x plus f prime of x times g of x. Okay? And because all this is being evaluated at 1, you say this is f of 1, g prime of 1, plus f prime of 1, plus g of 1. Problems like this show up a lot on the AP test, both in the free response and the multiple choice. So now, f of 1, you have to go in the chart. So f of x at 1, this is all evaluated at 1, so it's going to be in that column. Well, f of 1 is 1/3. G prime is 2/3. F prime is 5/3. G is 1. And then you add that up and you get 17/9. To do quotient rule here, u is g of x. U prime is g prime of x. V is f of x. V prime is f prime of x. We didn't really have to write this, but we might as well. Okay, so you're going to do low d high. So low f of x, d high g prime of x. Take high g, d low f prime. Cross the line and square the low. F of x squared. All right? And this is going to be evaluated at 2, so it's going to be f of 2, g prime of 2, minus g of 2, f prime of 2. Over f of 2 squared. Right? So that's in the 2's, okay? And you go ahead and you plug that in. All right, let's actually move on because I know that stuff you guys can do on your own as well. Okay, look at the next one. You have the square root of f of x. Always write that as f of x to the half. So we have to find here d dx f of x to the half. So the half comes down, and I'm going to have times f of x to the power of negative a half. Times, this is chain rule, the derivative of the inside, f prime of x. Okay? So this is 1/2. At x equals 3, what's f of 3? 1 to the negative half times f prime of 3 is 0. That makes the whole thing equal to 0.
So you multiply by f prime of x, just remind, because of the because the rule that we learned last time is just, so the first thing you did is you brought,
this is f of g of x, so it's chain rule again, and I start with the outer function, and I say the outer function's derivative is f prime g of x times the derivative of the inside g prime of x. So now this is f prime of g of 4 times g prime of 4. Okay? So this is f prime of, what's g of 4?
1.
1.
So 1/3.
Right.
Oh, no, 5/3.
Yeah, later. Yeah, so times g prime of 4. What's g prime of 4? It's negative 1/3.
So f prime of 1, go back to 0?
No, f prime at 1 is 5/3.
Oh, no, I mean like in the problem. Is that the same thing? You go back to the chart? At the
Yeah.
End? At the end.
Yeah, you go back. So right now, so first we put g of 4. G of 4 was 1. So this is f prime of 1.
So then you go f.
Then you go f prime of 1 is 5/3. So that's 5/3 times negative 1/3, negative 5/9. It's kind of cool, right? It's like a puzzle.
Wait, can you explain that again?
Yes. So here you have f prime of g of 4. But g of 4 you have to simplify. So g of 4 is 1. So now it's f prime of 1. And then you have to go back home. Okay. d dx g cubed of x, another chain rule. So 3 will come down, and this is 3 g squared of x times the derivative of the inside g of x, so g prime of x. Okay? Evaluated at 2, that's 3 times, what's g of x at 2? Negative half, but that's squared, right? 1/4, yep, 1/4 times g prime of 2 is negative 4.
Could you explain again what you do like when you square x? Does it just go on before, like if it's g squared of x, but it's the same as gx?
Yes, if it's g squared of x, it's the same as g of x squared, similar to sine.
Is it the g that's squared too, or just the?
It's g of x squared, not the x, g of x. Yeah.
If the derivative, if you're doing like the second derivative of the inside, and then the inside was g squared of x, wouldn't it be 2g instead of g x?
This is negative 3, sorry.
Like, you know how you're multiplying g prime of x? Why aren't you multiplying by 2gx?
But there is no 2. You mean because of this 2?
No, because the 2 inside of the...
That's g squared.
So isn't the derivative of that 2g?
Oh no, I'm not taking I took a derivative of the g cubed and it became g squared. Now I'm done taking a derivative. Now I just evaluate. Because if you now take another derivative of this, then you're taking the second derivative. That's not what we're doing.
Right, but now, and then you're multiplying by... Why are you multiplying by...
Again, we have g of f of x. We need to take a derivative of. So I start with the outer function, g prime of f of x. Times the derivative of this, f prime of x. Okay? So g prime of f of 2 times f prime of 2. So this is g prime. F of 2 is how much? 1, 1. Right? Times f prime of 2, 1/4. Okay, but now I still have to go one more step. Now it's g prime of 1, 2/3, times 1/4, 1/6. Okay?